Well, thank you, Tim. And Tim spent many hours in my lounge room with my eldest daughter, who's now 19. She was a big fan of High Five, and most importantly, so was my wife. So she'd be very disappointed she's not here today to see us. So thank you, Tim, for coming along. Thank you for your personal story, in the sense your motivation to make a difference, and that's obviously why you're here. Can I start firstly by just acknowledging the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to elders past and present for their guardianship of this land for thousands of years. We are truly thankful. We have some political people here, but it's a great thing because this has gone across the political divide, and I do want to acknowledge obviously the Minister here who is responsible, Prue Goward. It's great to have her here. Sarah Mitchell and Trevor Khan from our upper house will be here during the course of these 2 days, and Dr Jeff Lee, who's the local member here in Parramatta, is here. I also believe that Fiona Patton from the Victorian Parliament is here, or will be here, together with Ruth Forrest from the Tasmanian Parliament, and Andrea Dawkins as well, I believe, is coming up here. Great to have them here. Most importantly, I also want to acknowledge my good friend, Lucy Haslam, an incredible woman that has inspired this nation, and I congratulate her for again having the energy to bring this together, but not just this, but the cause and the call across the country, and I'll come to Lucy in a minute. Lastly, there is a young man here, Joshua. He knows who he is. He is the bravest child in Australia. That is undoubtedly my view of him, and it's great to have young Josh, who's come all the way up from Victoria to be here. But Josh, congratulations. You're very brave and you inspire us all, so great to have him here with us. And I think today that people are here for many different reasons. All types of motivations, circumstances, personal or known, have brought everyone sort of back to this room today. And as we reflect on it, it's often the personal story that has driven each of us here. And I'm here for one reason, and that was I had the pleasure and privilege of meeting a young man called Dan Haslam, and his mum and beautiful wife and dad. Now, I have lots of meetings in this job. Indeed, that's how my son sums up my job when asked by his young mates, what does your dad do? I don't know, he has meetings. So that's a pretty simple way of describing it. Some are constructive, but in that discussion, in that context of meetings, there are some meetings that change your life forever. And that was one of those. You know the story of Dan. I can still hear his voice. If I shut my eyes, I can still have that sense of presence. But what I'll never, ever forget was the look in his eyes. There was a fire and brimstone sense. A young man who was in a desperate situation that was determined not just to fight for himself, but to fight for thousands and thousands of others, for everyone else. This was a cause, despite the fact he was in the grips of a terminal illness, was prepared to put himself aside and fight for others. I don't know how you can kind of get that courage. My only hope is that I would be doing something similar, but I can only hope for that. I saw it. And just as importantly, in his eyes was this clear, deep resonance that the medical cannabis, is working. And it's changing my life. I'm not making it. Yeah. So I'm talking about a young man that has changed my life. So let me just finish that, and I'm happy, sir, if you want to talk to me afterwards, I'm happy to talk to you on the way out. Okay. But in that context, I wanted to act. That was a simple thing. I wanted to act, and we have. As that story changed my life and changed the actions, I think we have a lot to be proud of not just here in New South Wales, but across the country over the last 20 months. And let me give you a sense of what's happened in 20 months. We have announced a number of trials. Now, people might not be as keen on trials, but those trials are going to change people's lives. $21 million to look at the effective use of medical cannabis. Trials for terminally ill, children with severe epilepsy, chemotherapy patients suffering from nausea. Trials with patient enrolment and results are already starting to roll in. And the expectation is other states around the country want to participate, other patients want to participate in this, and the results already are coming in a way that I think are very positive. But we want the best minds in the country working on this. And that's the important point. One of the challenges with Dan is why should he be trying to work out what sort of structure, what sort of substance, what sort of quantities. Let's get the best minds in the countries to do it. And that is what we are determined to do, to get the best minds working on this and let those in these terrible circumstances fight for themselves. Let them get the position that they can save their energy to fight for themselves. We have introduced the terminal illness cannabis scheme, providing guidelines and access, and I will come to an update on that in a minute. We're also New South Wales, the first to submit a request to the Commonwealth to undertake research to fill knowledge gaps. We've established the New South Wales Centre for Medical Cannabis Research and Innovation here in New South Wales, led by Mary O'Kane, the Chief Scientist, who is determined to do this, to make a difference in this area. And already she has done an outstanding job bringing so many people together. We've seen funds start to flow. So the Lamberts, who obviously on the back of an incredible tragedy, have decided they want significant research and have given $34 million into research at Sydney University. So there is movement across so many levels in this. And I have spoken previously about the desire to want to lead the nation. My thinking is now we have to work together. The more that we can come together on this, the more chance and the quicker we can have action, which I think is a critical part of it. People have said that we are too slow, but I assure you we are moving as we are. We are moving as quickly as we can. And I know that some won't agree with that, but I can assure you, with everything I have and every resource in government, we are doing everything we can to move as quickly as we can to get the best science in place, the best research in place, to make it as effective as we possibly can, to give it access as quickly as we possibly can. And in Israel, there was a very clear lesson that I learnt having been there just a few weeks ago. And in that, speaking to the Health Minister and many of the petitioners there was a deep concern in Israel that there was access to medical cannabis wasn't going to those who needed it. And they are things that we need to focus on very clearly. We need to make sure that it only goes to those who need it, and there are protections and things we can learn as part of that. So where are we going next? And there are some important parts of this that I do want to highlight. Part of that visit, we signed an MOU with the Hebrew University, who are the world leaders in this space, and they are expected to work very closely with Sydney University and others here in New South Wales. But at the same time, we established the terminal illness cannabis scheme, and I understand the concerns on that. We do understand the concerns, and we are reviewing the scope of that. And in that context, I've asked Mary O'Kane, who will be looking at that, looking at the eligibility, looking at the registration process, looking at the amount of quantities, looking at the role of police. Can we expand that? And importantly, what we will be doing is we will be renaming it. We'll be renaming it the Medical Cannabis Compassionate Use Scheme. And that is an important change that we are announcing today. And the reason we are doing that, because Mary, as part of this review, will look at extending access to non-terminal patients, to children with severe epilepsy, and other cases where we think access should be provided. It's not easy. but I can assure you we are determined to make sure it works. So that is a change that we are proud to be announcing today, and Mary O'Kane will be overseeing that as we go as quickly as we can. Certainly, there is a long way to go, friends. The Commonwealth Government has moved as well, and I do ask you to go back and think of where we were 20 months ago. Where were we 20 months ago? And certainly we have had significant movement. And friends, you know, I know that there is frustration and passion in this room, and I welcome that. I welcome that. I welcome the passion.
It's a flower. It's a vegetable. It's not a drug. It's a vegetable.
It's going to be a long day if you do this to all speakers. I'll just say that. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, I'm just about to finish. Okay, just 1 second. I'll finish, and then you can talk to me on the way out. Or give me a hug on the way out. Look, friends, you know that the voices we hear, I welcome them. I'll tell you why I welcome them. I welcome them because there is a deep desire to make a difference to people in desperate circumstances, and I share that motivation. I'm determined to do it as much as possible in the way that brings the greatest impact and the greatest benefit to as many Australians as I can. And certainly basing that on the science that we are doing, I strongly believe that is the best way to do it while we work on the compassionate access scheme that we have in place. So friends, I thank you for your passion. I know there are differing views on how we get there, but if we get it right, and I thank everyone in this room for their role on being here today, if we get it right, what a difference we can make to this state and nation, and more importantly, what a difference we can make to those in these desperate circumstances, and that is what it's all about. Thank you very much.